prototypes, old builds, you know, test builds, various things. Well, Nick has a photo here of when he was helping her load up her hatchback. It was like 25 different instruments. 3-string, 4-string, 1-string, banjos, ukuleles, diddly bows. You can see in the car there. We basically loaded them in and off she went, and they were good enough. You saw the photo that they shared on Facebook, Glenn, of kids just starting to explore.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
To see like little kids like smiling and like feeling, you know, these are troubled youths that have very little in terms of resources at home. So to see them holding in musical instruments and smiling and feeling appreciative and just having a good time with one another, with the instruments that have collected over here over the years. I mean, I recognize some of those instruments from.
Oh yeah, well, you built some of them.
Yeah, from way back in the day. I'm talking like, you know, when I first started, whatever, a long time ago. So
yeah.
it was really satisfying to see that image.
Yeah, it felt good, and knowing they're going to a good home, because honestly, some of them, I didn't know what else to do with them. I kind of had them slated to go in the dumpster. We couldn't find anything else, because you can only collect and hold on to so many things. So so that was good, and hopefully we've got a box of Canjos out here too. Remember when we gathered all those I can't even remember why.
Show at the museum.
Was that? Yeah, that's right. We did the Canjo show at the museum. We still got all those good memory, Nick. Still got all those Canjos in a box over here. So hopefully find a good home for them too.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of feel-good stuff there. Now I saw Matthew Simpson had commented, my buddy Magic Daddy down there in the Chapel of Groove. Mm-hmm. How about a build your own songbook? List the music from each book you've done in one place. Oh. I don't know if I understand. Well, the tab, like pick the songs you want, and then it would compile.
Oh, that's an interest.
That takes some fancy programming.
But that's interesting idea.
I'm already thinking about how it could be done.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Matthew. Yeah. That's really interesting. I'll have to think about that a bit more. It used to be, you know, a story that I recently wrote out for what I'm going to show you in a minute over here, how this all got started. I was a software developer before discovering homemade instruments and getting into this whole crazy cigar box guitar world. I put some of that, it's pretty rusty, I ain't going to lie. It's been, what, 10 years now, 8 years since I've been doing this full time. But I put some of that old programming knowledge to use creating my tablature converter program. Basically, the way I'm able to create all these tablature songbooks fairly quickly is that I enter the bass song, not bass as in bass guitar, but I enter the song into this program I wrote, and then it can output it in various forms of tab. 3-string open G, 4-string open G, 1-string Canjo, 4-string ukulele, whatever. It can output it in various ways. So yeah, programming. But yeah, that a la carte songbook, that's really interesting. Anyway, enough beating around the bush. Here's what I wanted to show. It is a new book. Speaking of all things bookish, if you watched last week, you heard me vaguely hint at a new project. A week ago today, all I had was an outline of a few pages, a rough outline. Well, as of about an hour ago, is this camera, is cam 2 on, Nick?
It is. I've got to zoom up.
Oh, he's zooming. You probably can't read it, but what this says is the Homemade Instrument Fretting Handbook. A picture of some silly bugger on the front there. 160 pages, basically distilling everything we've learned about fretting here at CB Gitty over the last 10 years or so into one handy resource. There's dozens, probably close to 100 pictures in here, many of which I've annotated with diagrams. There's a buyer's guide, additional resources, common scale. I know you can't see anything in there, but common fretting scale lengths. Just printed out the first copy for review earlier today. We'll be going into more depth next week on what's in there when it's actually available for purchase. It's not quite ready yet, but within a couple of days, hopefully, we'll have that on there. So if you've ever thought, boy, I'd sure like to figure out fretting, but it seems hard. I'm kind of worried about it. Nah, maybe not yet. This book is designed to get you over that hump.
And a little bit less fumbling around the internet trying to find every single blog post that'll give you one tip that you need out of the 100 or something to that effect. You know, now everything is in one, or will be in one resource on a bookshelf for you. And I think that's awesome.
And as Marty says, I give the advice multiple times in there, whatever you do, don't fret. As in, don't worry. Don't get worked up. You can do it. This book can help.
Fret all.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. It's writing a book like that in a week takes a lot out of a person, but I got nobody to blame except this guy right here for the requirements I place on myself. All right, so enough talking. We're going to do a quick song, for which I actually need the 4-string.
Hey-o.
And then we're going to share the first video, the new one from Chris W.
Well, Max, it's good to see you. By the way, Joe Caruso.
Joe!
Shaq Collins, hey-o! Over there in Jacksonville.
You know...
Brett Olson. Come on now. Ken Noland.
Jacksonville being a nice village in jolly old England, I believe. Actually, speaking of songbooks and books in general, Shaq knows that if you're in the UK or Europe, and Europe, they're still technically the same, I guess. Hard to keep track of all that. Don't want to get into it.
For now.
But anyway, if you're over there across the ocean, you can order any of my songbooks directly off of Amazon, and they will print it and ship it from within the EU. Within the UK, within the EU, and they'll get it to you quick with, you know, prime shipping and all of that stuff. So it's a good way to do it, and Shaq has done so, and can tell you about it. All right, so we're gonna try a little bluesy number here. It's an old blues, kind of like almost pre-blues in a way. I think this kind of was in those early days before the blues truly became its own style. This is Frankie and Johnny. It's been recorded in multiple ways. I think the original might have been entitled Frankie and Albert, but Frankie and Johnny maybe has a little more of a ring to it. So if you hear me revert to Albert during the song, don't be alarmed.
And if you wonder what the bass player's doing, the bass player doesn't know, because the bass player's heard the song once. Let's give it a shot.
We believe that if you rehearse too much, you lose the essence of a live performance. All the fun goes out if you actually know what you're doing. All right, here we go. Key of G, playing the 4-string Tupelo tenor kit. Well, Frankie and Johnny were sweethearts. Lordy, how they could love. Proud to love one another. Baby, beneath those stars above, he was her man. He was doing her wrong. Well, Frankie went down to the bar room to fetch herself a bucket of beer. Bartender said, Miss Frankie, you know where your loving man been here. It was your man. He was doing you wrong. Well, bartender said, Miss Frankie, girl, I couldn't tell you no lies. Your husband left about an hour ago with that hussy named Nellie Bly. It was your man. But he was doing you wrong. Well, Frankie, she cried and she cried. She said, Lordy, what have I done? I done gave enough love to my man. He done took my love and run. It was my man. But he been doing me wrong. Well, Albert saw Frankie coming, so did Johnny. He said, Lordy, don't you shoot. But out from under that red Carmona, the gun went Rudy toot toot. solid 80% of that was correct. So thank you for watching. We'll be right back with you in a moment after this video from our buddy Chris W.
Yes.
Is he an awesome player, but he's apparently figured out cloning, you know. Hey.
He's a talented dude. I don't know if you've seen him. We've posted a couple of his videos on the CB Gitty Crafter Supply Facebook page, and Chris W. has an exceptional amount of humility and talent. It's just great to see.
A good mix right there.
Yeah, it's great to see that sort of like that's just that fresh perspective. You know, come into like we all have our own ideas and our own style when it comes to cigar box guitars, but his is just a nice fresh breath of fresh air, and it's good to see you, Chris. Hopefully, if you're out there and you see this, thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Indeed. So that kind of leads into our next topic here. It came up earlier this week. It came up on one of the cigar box guitar groups. A question was asked: does it count as building a real guitar if you are assembling a kit? Now, you might be able to guess that we have some views on that, considering that we were just playing two kits that were designed and created and made here at CB Gitty. But I think it raises an interesting question. For me, and I know Glenn has some thoughts on this, I'm going to say a few words and then turn Glenn loose on you. For me, the idea of a kit, it's kind of like an on-ramp to a highway. If homemade instruments, handmade instruments, the whole cigar box guitar movement is the highway, kits are an on-ramp. It's a bite-sized chunk that people can take to prove to themselves, hey, I really can build a guitar. And of course, it's a real instrument. It's a real guitar. We have gotten hundreds of emails and customer submissions over the past 10 years, however long we've been selling kits, of people so proud, so excited about having built themselves a cigar box guitar or ukulele or diddly bow or banjo or whatever using one of our kits. And then many of those people, not all of them, and that's fine, but many will go on to continue building instruments. We hear the story told so frequently. I started with one, well, usually they say, I started by watching a video by Glenn Watt, then I got one of your kits, and now I've built my 5,000th guitar, and I'm, you know, and that story never gets old for us. So for me, I don't personally have a lot of patience for people who have to ask questions like that. Of course, they usually refer to them as an honest question. I'm just asking an honest question. Yeah, but why are you asking it? Because it's inherently divisive. To try to start putting a hierarchy in, like, that's a real guitar and that's not a real guitar, and you know, everybody has their own place in this. And if we can come up with kits that bring people into this idea that you don't have to go to Guitar Center and buy a guitar off the wall, you can build your own. And if even a small fraction of those go on to learn to play them, or to build instruments entirely from scratch by hand, down to whittling your own tuner pegs out of Grandpa's old wooden leg, or whatever you consider real homemade instrument making, I think we're doing a good thing. So, what do you think?
Well, and Michael Capato chimed in with make what you want, how you want, and don't judge what another person does. I think that's a perfect way of summing it all up. I'm essentially incapable of addressing this without too much
You're gonna get worked up,
emotion,
folks.
yeah. And so I'm gonna be quick about it. But I'm really discouraged by questions like that because they are inherently divisive, and we do live in a world, and whether it's being exacerbated now these days or not, we do live in a world where it's either red or blue, black or white, you know, political affiliations, all of it. It's you versus them, or it's me versus you, or whatever it is. It's dividing people into camps, and I can't think of anything less like the Cigar Boss Guitar Community. One of the things that drew me to this community to begin with was how warm and accepting and understanding everyone is, and just, I don't care what you built that out of or how many you've built. That's awesome. That's great. And it's just being nice. And and as an objective outsider, I can see where somebody else who isn't in this community looks at a question like that and says, well, it seems like an honest enough or an innocent enough question. But having been in this community now for several years of my life, with sober eyes and sober ears to see how everyone interacts, I know that is a divisive question, and I know that's a way to draw a line in the sand, and I hope that, and I know that the people who are out there right now watching the show are on the same page as us. And I'm not an us versus them thing, but have that same mindset. Like it's all good. We're all in this together, and we're all doing our own thing. But when we come together, it's to appreciate and to accept one another, and to appreciate what each other are doing, to offer encouragement and words of wisdom when asked for. But I'm glad to know that the majority of the people that I interact with and that we interact with do not share that us versus them mindset. Do not share the if you're not doing it my way, then you're not a real builder type mindset. These kits are more than an on-ramp. I've read multiple over this past several years. I've read multiple accounts of people chiming in with, thank you for these kits. I'm unable to be out in my shop right now because of some physical disability, but I am able to build these kits. Or I built 100 instruments and I built this kit and I think it's awesome and I'm having a great time with it. Or I gave it to my wife, or I gave it to my aunt, or whatever the case may be. These kits are more than just on-ramps. They're just another way to add into the pleasure of building and playing your own musical instruments. Mm-hmm. And for those of you out there that understand that, thank you very much, because I think that's really what it comes down to, is what Michael said. Like, there's no reason to draw a line in the sand. There's no reason to judge. I think we're all just having a good time here. This doesn't have to be anything more than that. So,
and I think it's useful to remember that to a probably still a large majority of the guitar playing world, none of these are real instruments. Yeah. You know? Yeah. We fight against that prejudice all the time as homemade instrument makers. Oh, that's not a real guitar. That's a toy. That, you know. So to try to bring that sort of divisiveness into the community, it doesn't do much for me. You have a thought on deck over there, Nick?
I do. Well, first, Chris W. out there on YouTube is thanking us for playing his submitted video.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. It was awesome. And to add to that, basically the start of homemade instruments was guys just grabbing whatever scraps. I read stories of them grabbing fence wire and wrapping it around things, and so if like Muddy Waters started.
Well, I think part of that question was inherently implying that counts as real.
Oh, gotcha.
Homemade guitar building, and kits are somehow something lesser. So anyway, I think we've, and the people out there, you folks who watch all the time, you don't need to be preached at about this, but you know, every once in a while something comes up and we want to get it off our chest. Now, I see Scott McLean's name there. He had asked during the last song about the strings on the bass, and I know Nick chimed in, but I wanted to address it audibly.
Round wound nickel.
Round wound.
Yeah, not flat wound, but round wound nickel silver strings.
You know, we should probably try some flat wounds one of these days. I This is an example of experts. You know, somebody might watch this and think, that guy clearly is an expert, but I'm not. Like, when it comes to conventional ways of doing things on basses or even guitars, I frequently have to ask Shane Spiel, who is an expert, like, what are these for? Why do people do this on that? Or what was this style of guitar? I mean, I don't know. I make guitars out of sticks and boxes. You know? So, yes, round wound nickel bass strings, 100 gauge and 80 gauge, low G, and then D above it.
He also had a question on the strength. How did you brace it against the tension of the strings?
It's a good question. Using little lighter gauge bass strings. There is no truss rod in here. It's a hardwood maple neck with a, mahogany fretboard glued on. And by using little lighter gauge strings, chosen to be fairly low tension, this one, it's been strung up for months, and it's doing good.
Perfect.
Not bowing. So now, if this was a 4-string bass, if we'd put all 4 strings on there and cranked them right up, she'd probably be bowing a bit. So it's about that fine line of what can the wood take. Gluing a fretboard onto a hardwood neck always gives you a good bit more strength than just a plain 1x2. So, yeah, I like the keep the questions coming. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome indeed, sir. All right, let's bring it down. Everybody take a deep breath.
That was nothing.
Put away the fight.
Should have heard mine.
Oh, when I first told him about that, he got all fired up. Anyway, we've got another video now from our buddy Stevos. Stevos doing a little front porch picking, it looks like there.
Nice picking.
Yeah, good stuff there. Thank you for submitting that.
And that's on a guitar that he built as a birthday gift for his niece. Good job,
Nice.
Steve-Os.
Very good. All right, so now the triumphant,
Oh, yeah.
the return. He does his own theme music, people. Come on. Who could ask for more?
Who else can you say? Can you say that you know that has their own theme music?
I don't have my own
He
theme
wrote
music.
it, so let's just to be clear.
Oh yeah,
I'm not.
No,
don't
that's
sit at home
Johnny
like.
Cash. That's the opening to Folsom Prison.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got that.
I wrote that, folks.
All right. Sorry. Who do we have for? Oh no, it's the video first. Oh no, it's Walk Corner first.
It's Walk Corner.
All right, hey-o! First up, we have for you today, and today only, Sharmo, our good friend Sharmo. And the reason I wanted to share this picture is because I like seeing you. I like seeing you with the things that you build, and I like showing everyone else. I think that's really cool that he took the time to sit outside. These are his first 3 builds. He wrote, and I think this message is particularly applicable today, different boxes and different woods for the necks. They all sound a little different and are all great fun. You just have to try different things. And I think that sort of, that level of authenticity, that level of openness is apt for this particular episode. So thank you very much, Sharmo. It's good to see you, and I'm glad to know that you are enjoying building Cigar Box guitars and are willing to share them with us. Next up, we have from our good friend, Kapow Pow. I did a terrible job of cropping this picture.
Oh, you know what it is?
No, that's me. All right.
Well,
Rob, I'm trying to show you love, man. This Rob did this amazing. If you haven't seen it, then I suggest after this show going over to check out Rob's Cigar Box Guitars, his Facebook page, where he has a. It looks like that old styled airbrush that I would see at the beach. This is Margaritaville is his guitar, and it's just a beautiful sunset, lovely image that Nick is kindly, masterfully working out right now. Huzzah! And I just, because Rob's been doing some really neat stuff. Oh, he's always doing really neat stuff, but he's been doing some neat stuff with that dip swirl painting that you may have seen on his, if you're not following his page, you probably should. He uses a lot of CB Gitty parts. Thank you, Rob. But on this one, this is the first that I've seen him do or have done on one of his guitars. And this, again, this I don't know what it is for sure, but this airbrushing type sunset thing is absolutely just awesome. So, and it's just a sweet way of adding personality and uniqueness to your instruments. And I think Rob is at the forefront, on the bleeding edge, as some would say, of doing that for his guitars. So great stuff, Rob. I'm stoked that you would share that with us. So thank you very much. Next up is Brian L. Speaking of unique, you got this guy. Brian writes of his white skull guitars here. This this box lid was painted white and laser engraved and used skull cutouts for sound holes. And Nick, you are of course welcome to scroll through whatever images of Brian's. I appreciate it. It has a hand carved solid maple neck through neck, and rosewood fretboard with pearloid inlays and side markers. It's clear coated and polished to a high gloss, as you can see there. Love the pearloid inlays. Love the CB Gitty tuners that he's got on there, and the medium fret wire that is a popular item here in this storefront. I just like, again, the uniqueness and the care and craftsmanship that went into this instrument, and I think it's a beautiful thing. I also like seeing the chrome snake oil humbucker on there, which is a sweet, fat sounding pickup. And he's even, you can see there right in the bottom, there are little skull knobs that he got from us too, with the little red jewel eyes. So awesome stuff, Brian. I love sharing this kind of fun, unique stuff, and I'm glad that and look at that, the bottom of the fretboard, just well crafted to match the designs that are in the corners, and it matches the design. You know, it matches the design of the sound holes. So just well done, thoughtful craftsmanship. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that with us. I hope that you see this. Next up is our good friend from Vacation Land, the way that life should be, if you knew where Maine wild blueberries and all the other things and lobsters come from. It's Marty Tauber, who hand winds the Wicked Bucker pickups that we are all in love with. And you were wondering, why, Glenn, can I not see this guitar? Don't worry about it. It's because we have another image for you. That's the reason I wanted to highlight this. Marty's wood burning. He continues to do great work with his wood burning on these boxes. He writes that this is the second of 2 commissioned builds. The other was Bob Marley, which I shared with you either 2 or 3 weeks back here on the show. I just love the fact that he's taken the time to do this fine little detailed work. Marty writes that he used CB Gitty's laser cut finger joint box. That's what you see there that he wood burned. And economy tuners. It also has a piezo and a jack all from Gitty. The new owner is ecstatic with the artwork and the sound, because the boxes sound awesome, and the way that you put it together, Marty, it looks fantastic. So I'm glad to share that here, and I'm glad that all of you get to see it. So thank you very much, Marty. Great work. Next up, we got from Melodities. I like the name Melodities. Another far shot, whatever distant shot. You won't be able to see it until we get to it a little bit closer. But Melodities writes, meet Bella. Bella is a 5-string banjo done my way. I like that. Bella has a salad bowl, or was a salad bowl in a previous life. Until now, I never learned to play the traditional 5-string bluegrass banjo with the little string on top, but today's my day, writes Melodities. And you can see it's just this beautiful stuff that I won't do. Not only am I not capable of doing it, I don't even try. This beautiful work, and he's got the resonator, some sort of like a drum head in there, which I think is great. And you're welcome to scroll through them, Nick, if you want. You got this beautiful bridge here. These little handcrafted multi-layers of wood, and you can see where the tailpiece is handcrafted. He's got that palm rest over the tailpiece. It's just awesome. And that last image, again, I always love headstocks like this. Those of you who go out there and do these like fancy headstocks, as opposed to me, which is just jamming a stick in a box. I love stuff like this. And what is that, like a cello-ish stand-up bass type thing? Yeah. Just great work, and it's really nice stuff. He's got CB Gitty bone nut on there, and our fret wire and our tuners, and our string. So really good stuff. I appreciate you sharing that, Melodities. I like being able to show that kind of stuff here for everyone else to see. So I hope that you're inspired by it too. I know that I'm not going to try it, but I'm inspired by it. Next up, and last up, we have Eric's Grateful. I love this message. So this is what Eric wrote to us. In fact, I gotta tell you something. Every morning when I come in here and I go through the submissions that are shared that you share with us, so that we can post them on our website, and I read stories like this. This isn't the only one. I could bore you to death with all the stories that we get like this. The heartfelt, honest, authentic stories that we get from you, that I get to read, are really make me feel good, just to put it that way. So this is from Eric. He titles it Just the Beginning. I began making cigar box guitars after getting released from the hospital for cancer treatment. I could not return to work and needed to occupy my time, so I decided to make giving cigar box guitars a try. I love the fact that I can put my own spin on each of them, making them truly unique. Music is universal and can heal the soul and calm the mind. I know, or I like knowing, I am doing something that will outlive me and possibly enrich someone's life. I have some of the highest standards when making my cigar box guitars. I want them to not only sound great, but to actually look and feel great too. So when I am crafting one, I really think about what makes sense. From the neck to the sound holes and everything in between, each build is carefully thought out and tested before set in stone. Thank you, CB Gitty, for the opportunity to display my work. And thank you, Eric, for sharing that insight, that context, that bit of story about you, and that really makes what it is that you do special. And I wish you a life full of healthy living and beating the hell out of cancer. So good on you, Eric. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that's it for Watt Corner. But I do want to tell you, however, before I forget, the next Carolina Box Club meeting is tomorrow. Where?
Big Al's Pub and Grubberia.
Big Al's Pub and Grubberia. That's in, I'm sorry, Charlotte, North Carolina, I think. Charlotte, it's in North Carolina. If you don't know, it's on Cigar Box Nation underneath the events tab. It's tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.-ish. For the month of April, they will review the minor blues pentatonic scale for any root note. We'll also review the 7th chord box for picking an arpeggio rhythm instead of strumming chords, and we'll play a 7th chord arpeggio in several keys. If you're in the area and are thinking about attending this, do not be intimidated by what I just described. They are a wonderfully inclusive group that walks through all of this stuff, and you will know because they'll also be performing and their Counting Out Loud song and doing some jamming and discussing individual building and playing issues. I am really...
We need to get in the car.
I know. That's a really cool group.
I need to learn these things.
I think it's Uncle Fred of Cigar Box Nation who is the guy who brings it all together.
Nice.
Yeah, and so this is in meeting number 39. That's 39 months in a row that this guy's been pulling it. That's what, 2, 3, 4, 3 plus years?
3 and a bit.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Awesome stuff, Uncle Fred, although
Nice.
I've never met you. And I think that's it's a wonderful opportunity for people to get together and help one another. So thank you. Yeah, buddy. All right.
There were some questions. Now
There were a lot of questions there. I lost track of them.
I've kept track of some of them. The first one, obviously, you can get on Watt Corner by submitting to our customer gallery.
Yes. I wish I could just blurt out the link.
If you go to cbgitty.com, there's a customer gallery link on there, and there's a submission link in there, I believe. Or if you've made a purchase from CB Gitty, within a few days you should get an email saying, "Hey, review your stuff," and that's how you submit.
Yes.
To Watt Corner.
So yeah, to be quick, I'm sorry. So like Ben said, it's on the website if you can find it. It's just down below in the customer gallery.
Oh, that's right. We got a new theme now. Yeah.
And like he also said, you will be sent a link after you purchase something from us to share something with us back. And also, if you follow the CB Gitty Crafter Supply Facebook page, we have an album of photos that we also share all of these photos on. That ones that I can't get them all onto Watt Corner. The ones that we share on this album, there's that link to share is also in that photo album as well.
Yeah, buddy.
I think Matthew Simpson was asking about the 4-string set.
Oh yeah, 4-string string sets. Definitely, absolutely, still high utmost on the list to do if I stop letting myself be what's the word, distracted by cranking out a 160-page book in 7 days. We'll get to the new. Yes, still coming soon. Not listed yet, but absolutely. The string set that we include with the Tupelo tenor kit, we will make available. We do have the 2-string bass string set available now. Yep. Any other questions? I think it was mostly about strings and.
Yeah, I think most of it was about strings. I'll go quickly back through here.
Nope, all right. Well, what we're going to do now is run our 3rd customer submitted video of the day from William Edward White. And then we will be back with another song and a couple of other goodies. So we'll see you again shortly. I'm on. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the video was
So-
not short.
something's happening. Nobody panic. Is this live? I'll come in again. Count me in. No. All right. So, springtime. Somebody asked about the hobo fiddle. This is the original hobo fiddle I built. 17-inch scale, 3 nylon strings. And if you recall the story, I kind of imagined what would an actual hobo, a person out there riding the rails, you know, traveling around looking for work or just to travel, what sort of instrument would they be able to make from stuff they gathered up along the tracks? And of course, spring, we're into spring now, the weather's starting to warm up, the leaves are starting to green, the snow is melting. Up here in New England, we're not seeing quite all that much green yet, but we know it's coming. And of course, this is the time of year back in the day, and still for some folks, where the wanderers and the ramblers and the rovers, the migrants and the traveling people, they start to get that urge and that itch deep down. You know, they've been cooped up all winter, and now that the warmer weather's here, it's time to get out there and get back to moving. You know, go see what's over that hill in the distance. Sure, you've been over it before, but who knows what's there now? The only way to find out is to hop that train and go see. You know, I feel some of that myself, even though I've never been a hobo. I get that rambling and that traveling urge. And springtime, I always feel like I got to get out there, you know, make a road trip back home to Ohio or, you know, wherever, and get out there and see what's over that next hill. So, in honor of and to celebrate that that feeling, that old springtime rambling feeling, I wrote a song I call The Road That Ain't Been Run. You know, it's about that out there searching and traveling around looking for a road that you haven't been down before, going somewhere new, seeing some new sights. So welcome Glenn Watt back to the stage here on the bass. We're going to try to do this one. It's not a new song. I've sung it on here before, but it's been a while. To be honest, it might have been around last spring. Key of C. Gotta get up, get on back to moving. Speed it up a little bit. Can't spend my days sitting round here no more. 'Cause moving's just the only kind of living I can do. This freight train is the only way I can go. So don't look for me in the morning, 'cause I'll be 100 miles gone, rolling through the good times and the bad ones that may come, searching for the road that ain't been run, sitting in a corner of a boxcar, grinding up across the Great Divide. The cold cuts like a chisel down inside you, but you know there's summer on the other side. So don't look for me in the morning, 'cause I'll be 100 miles gone, rolling through the good times and the bad ones that may come, searching for the road that ain't been run. Sorry about that. You come to learn there is no destination. The more you learn, the less you really know. And everywhere somehow leads to nowhere. You find yourself with no place left to go. I think I said enough. So that's
Wow.
about all we've got for you this week, folks. Thanks again for joining in with us. Thank you, Wayne Anderson, that you like that song. That was a little different tempo than I normally do, and that's on me, not the bass player. I didn't start it at the right speed, so it went a little slow. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. One quick announcement: there's a bunch of festivals and such coming up that we've mentioned the last couple of weeks. I just want to say that next Saturday, the 13th, I believe it is, they're having the Juke Joint Festival down in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and our buddy Johnny Lobo is going to be playing on the Travelers stage there on Saturday. Johnny has been going down to that festival forever. It's Johnny Lobo, a good friend of the show. I don't think he actually watches the show. He's an interesting guy. One of the most distinct characters of the entire homemade music movement. He's been going down to that fest and playing it for a long time, so we wish him safe travels to get down there to Clarksdale. It's not that far of a haul from Memphis, where Johnny hails from. A bunch of other stuff going on, but I think we're going to end it with that this week. Thank you again, everyone. I see my Gitty out there.
Hey! Thank you, Dave. It's always good to see you, sir.
Well, it's been the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Station TV. It's been the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Station TV. And we came to you live from CB Gitty. I say all you need is a sticker box and some strings. Yeah, all you need is a sticker box and some strings. Maybe a kit, who knows? Well, you put them all together, you know they're gonna ring. Yeah! Well, it's the Gitty Gang Show. Gitty Gang Show. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
Say the Gitty Gang Show. Oh, oh.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Station TV. We're gonna get a slap there.
Woo!
Slap in the face.
You do it! There it is.
That's all I got.
It's good.
All right, we'll see you next week, folks.